This is Beneteau's brand new Antares 12. It's the largest outboard engine Antares they've ever made. And there's a lot of innovation gone into this one. It's a really interesting boat, actually. So I'm going to take you on board, of course, and give you the full tour. Now, I mentioned it's got outboards. This one's got a pair of 400 horsepower V10 Mercuries on it. You can have triple engines if you want. You can have triple 300s or triple moos, as we call them on this channel. And you'll see why if you look at what's written on the back of them. There we go, I digress. 34 knots with these, and with the triples you're up to about, I think, 38 knots if I remember rightly. And then cruising speed, sort of, you know, mid to high 20s, and range, I think, about 150 miles if I remember rightly. A couple of things to demonstrate here. One is the fact that they've made this so you can walk right around this back end. Because it's a bigger boat, they've managed to incorporate the space to do that. If you look at the smaller ones, for example this one over here, you can see that if you come on here, the only way to the other side is to go in around the cockpit and back out again. With this one, you can walk right the way across. But what they've done is made this a lift-up section, and the reason for that is, of course, so you can then tilt these engines out completely clear of the water. There we go. And another thing they've done with this is put the drop balcony on it. And what's interesting is you can see this here as a door. It's not to be used, obviously, when it's in its current position, but when this is raised up and it becomes part of the side of the boat, then you have a side door to get straight out. When it's down as it is now, you've got a bathing platform on the side there, which is rather nice. When it's up, there's another bathing platform. If I back up, down underneath here. So you've always got access from the water. But with that one in place, of course, it's like a sort of swimming pool access, really. It's really nice. This one's got a passerelle on. There's a lot of spec on this boat, actually. Generator, all electric cooking. I think there's even a seakeeper on it, to remember rightly. Cockpit here, L-shaped seating. You've got the table that unfolds, so you can double the size, but also it's telescopic. So you can drop that down and make that into a sunbathing area if you wish. But what's quite nice is they've extended this quite a long way back so that you get plenty of shade here. But also you'll see there's a track in here, and that means that you can put canopies into here, enclose this whole area. And because it's got outboard engines, of course, there's no engines underneath here. What you have instead is a big storage void, massive amount of space in there. That's where your generator lives, that's where your seakeeper lives if you have one. This particular boat is the very, very first one. So on this one, you have to move the ladder out of the way to open that, and they're looking at modifying that, so you don't need to move that to get that open, which I think is a sensible idea. They put a big drain right the way across here, and that means that you can keep this all on one level. You don't have to have a step, because of course any water that comes in will drain away rather than go into the cabin. There's more storage underneath here. If you lift that up, these just clip into place like so, and if you lift it, you've got storage void underneath, also engineering space, that kind of thing. And another thing that they've done is where Maggie is sat here, you can, if you shunt her out of the way first, move this. I lift it in the right place, there we go, like that, and then instead of being inside, Maggie's now, well, she's still inside but looking outside, so you've got a really nice sheltered area. You're sheltered by the roof and the sides, but you are connected to the cockpit, and that works really well. And with that back, of course, then it's extending the inside. Should have put Maggie somewhere else, really, shouldn't I? There we go. That then becomes part of this dinette. This table it unfolds again like one we saw in the cockpit, so that drops back like that, but it's also again telescopic, and again you can make that into a big, well, in this case obviously more of a sleeping area. So in fact you can sleep 8 on this boat in total if you use this as well. Galleys up here, big fridge drawers. It's got the electric hob, gas is standard, electric oven as well on this one, of course, and then lots of nice storage areas. So your cutlery is in there. You've got bins, I think it's this one here. No, that's bottles. Bins, there must be this one. I've seen them somewhere. Yeah, there we go, look at this. So that's quite nifty. And then of course sink and that sort of stuff is underneath here. Also got the big TV here. Quite often they have it under that section there, but of course it means that only people sat here can really look at it. Whereas this one you can sit right along here. So for an evening with a family, that works really well. We've got light switches here, we've got the stereo control here. Air conditioning on this boat, they're controlled from there as well. A lot more storage dotted around the place, like so. And then the other thing that you can do here, and I mentioned there's a lot of clever thinking on this boat, is that this seat here will, if I lift it in the right place, hang on, yeah, there we go. Drop right over, and now you've got a raised co-pilot area. That's really nice. So your helm is here, and people can sit up here. Of course, the seat is now raised in height. You've got your backrest. A couple of people can sit there, all enjoying the ride. You've got the big windscreens across here. That's a really nice touch. And also what you have here then is glasses, crockery, that kind of thing, all got its place, not rattling around when you're going along. So that works very nicely. Helm seat over here, they've upped the quality a little bit on this, I think, as well. If you look at some of these are much more like you found on the GT range or the trawler range, the more expensive ones. And the other thing you have here is a side opening door. So you can see it's actually a really decent size, and then you've got the drop bolster so that you can sit there and drive if you want to, or you can raise it up and lean against it, but it also means you've got really good access to the outside. And also they've put the joystick control over on this side and the throttles. So in fact you can stand, when you're manoeuvring the boat, you can stand out here and you can reach all of this. That is dead handy, especially if you're short-handed, because you can literally watch the boat in here. You've even got a cleat to put a line on right next to the helm. Multifunction display, so that's giving you engine instrumentation, navigation, all that kind of stuff. Bow thruster on this one, as well as the joystick on this one. Switch gear, so pumps and wipers and all that kind of stuff. Zip wake, trim tabs are controlled from here as well, of course. Even a little scan strut charger just there. Drop your phone on there, it'll charge up. Engine instrumentation, repeater screen there as well. If we head on down to the lower deck, now because they put the galley up, it's left space for 3 cabins down here. And they've deliberately chosen to go for a really big, comfortable owner's cabin up here in the bow, and then a decent VIP and a smaller third cabin, because that's the kind of priority that most people want. They don't want all equal sized cabins. They want a great big owner's area because they're on the boat the most, a nice guest area, and then a bit of an overflow area. So this is giving you exactly that. Ensuite isn't here. Now this is a perfect example of that, because look at the size of the shower in here. It's huge. Now, of course, whenever you take an area like that and make it into a big shower, you lose it somewhere else. So it's always a compromise, but the compromise is weighted very heavily towards the owners. And since they're paying for it, it's not unreasonable, is it? Heads is in there as well. Of course, that shelf lifts up to be able to use that in a little more comfort. Some nice lighting about the place. That is a nice area. Bit of storage as well, tucked away, and a little mirror. Am I in it? Yeah, there I am. Thusly. Storage up here. So, oh, actually, that's air conditioning in this one, by the looks of it. I guess if you didn't have air conditioning, that would be storage, as that is. Probably weren't supposed to open that, were we? Never mind. More storage up around here. Quite a lot of headroom in here as well. I'm over 6 foot, and yeah, that is pretty good. More storage down here. Hanging locker over here, and we've got the AV equipment in this one as well. So that is the owner's cabin. If we move on back, what we've then got is a day heads here. Again, pretty decent shower size, albeit on this one you have got the heads, the actual toilet, I should say, actually inside the shower area. Again, that's the kind of compromise you get by making that area so big. And then a really nice guest cabin here. So this is your sort of VIP cabin, I suppose. That little infill there will drop in to make that into a big double. I think it's a queen size double. It's a really good size. And that's a nice cabin. And then we've got, again, hanging locker and shelving and all that kind of stuff. But they've also put a doorway here. So this cabin at night, oh, if you haven't got the door open, so this cabin at night, I'll edit that out later, walks straight into here, so that's excellent. But that door there means that apart from the fact you don't need to go into any cabins to access it during the day, it also means that cabin 3 can use it. And what they've done with this is a bit smaller, because these tend to get used the least, and in fact these often get used just for storage. So you can lose this and use that as a big storage area down there. But what you can also do is slide that one across. It's a big single at the minute, but if you bring that across here, that one drops into play behind it. You've got a double there. So that's hence 6 people in 3 cabins, plus that converting saloon. And again, you've got storage in here. And I think I'm right in saying you can, if you wish, have extra fridge capacity and that kind of stuff if you prefer. So that is the interior. I think we've pretty much covered that, haven't we? What we'll do is we'll head out this side door, I think. Now what they've done with this, again, it's all about space optimization. They've given it a really deep, wide side deck on this side, so it's a really easy boat to move around. But then a much narrower one on the other side, and the idea is you don't need two big side decks, because if you're going forward and back, you tend to just use this one. But there is a narrow side deck on the other side, so that if you do want to get down there to hang some fenders on or cleaning the boat or whatever, then you can still use it. So nice wide walkway up across here, and then what they've done is this drops down to give a really nice little forward seating area. So if I tuck myself in here, that is a very nice and comfortable place to be. Bimini on this one as well, as you can see, and very welcome it is today because it is pretty hot down here in Cannes. Lovely. Okay, other things you can do with this. Well, first of all, you've got obviously anchor chain is in there, but then you've got a separate locker here for, I don't know, ropes or whatever else you want to keep in there. The anchor winch control is in there as well. But another thing you can do with this area is this backrest here. If I move these cushions out of the way, let's put that one up there next to the other one and that one, and we can pretend that's where they're supposed to be. So at the minute it's a seating with a small sunbed, but then you can, there we go, drop that one down and you've got a really big sunbathing area on the front of the boat. That is excellent. And that one there, that square, is the hatch. So there is access from that forward cabin out of the boat, or extra light if you take that piece out or whatever else. So you have got that as well. Okay, now this is the narrow one, and because we access all areas on these tours, we're going to go down it and show you that it can be used, but they have deliberately kept this to a minimum because clearly the narrower you make this, the wider you make the inside of the boat, and that's what people want. So you've got the rail all the way down here, but also this overhang, you can put your hand underneath it and get some grip there, which is quite helpful. But yeah, it's a narrower one, but it's still a perfectly usable one. And then we've got the steps down here that drop us back into the cockpit area. So then the last thing to talk about is the Flybridge. That's up here. Now again, this takes advantage of this overhang here to extend the Flybridge. So if we head on up, that's how they get a pretty decent length into this. Look at this. There's a table here that's demounted at the minute, but that would slot into there so that you've got nice eating area up here, but a nice comfortable dinette area or relaxing area, or use it however you wish. And in fact this seat here will, you see you've got an upholstered section here, so it's nice, you can sit, put your feet up, but you can also drop that one over and it fits perfectly into there and makes it into a sunbathing area. There's a wet bar on this side, there's a lid that drops down here so you can close that off, of course. And if we head on forward again, we've got the Helm seat, we've got the engine controls, we've got the joystick control again, bow thruster, multifunction display, engine instrumentation, all the sort of stuff that we found downstairs for when you're parting the boat from up here. And also, as ever on a Flybridge, fantastic view, look at that, of a helicopter coming into land. Fantastic. And this is the Beneteau stand. There's a Swift Trawler 48, we videoed that one last year. There's the Grand Trawler 62, I think it is, over here. Again, we've got that one on the channel. We filmed that when it first came out. So yeah, they've got quite a range, these guys, as you can see. Brilliant. Okay, that, I think, is a reasonably comprehensive tour of the Antares 12. And I think what's nice about it is it's a good meld of modern innovation, but then traditional styling and things like this ladder up here, so it takes up less space. Obviously you had steps down here, they've come right out here. So they've used some old-fashioned areas like that, but they've put it into quite a modern looking and acting boat. And I think it's great. If we can stand out here on this area here, you can actually look right down the side. That's fantastic. Okay, I'm going to head back up onto the bow. I'm going to show you very quickly in here, if you have gas rather than electric cooking, then that is where your gas bottle would go, and it self-drains, so if it did leak it would go out over the side, which is what you want for obvious reasons. That's that sliding side door, and this is this really nice walkway that takes you right up through the length of the whole boat, and that's why they can get away with putting a small one on the other side. So we're going to finish up here, And we are going to say massive thanks to Beneteau for organising that tour. Huge thanks as ever to you guys for watching it. This is the very first one I filmed at Cannes. Lots to do here, so stay tuned. There's a lot more coming, and we'll catch you on another one of these real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.